Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm ACated and this is my build. So if you've been following my other videos, you probably would have known that I'm doing a lot of fairy builds right now, but I thought I might take a break from that, and by break I mean I'm taking a break after only 2 builds, but I just felt like building something else. So instead I am building this coastal California bungalow, which sounds very specific, but I felt like building it, so I'm going to build it. I mean, it's summer, it's everyone's going to the beach, everyone's going on vacation. Why not build a cute little coastal California bungalow? So I wanted to build this in a different world, probably like Del Sol Valley, but Del Sol Valley doesn't really have any lots that I really wanted to use this for. So there's really only the little suburban neighborhood that they have, and then everything else is just for celebrities. Like they just have a Hollywood Boulevard and then the Hollywood Hills, and they don't have a beach neighborhood, and that makes me very sad. They should have had a beach neighborhood. So I went with the best next thing, which is San Sequoia, since San Sequoia is based off California, specifically the Bay Area, San Francisco. So I thought it was close enough. Although I feel like San Sequoia doesn't really look like California. California is not this green. It's a little green, but it's not this green. It's more of a beige or a brown color. Perhaps a light green or like a yellowish green, but not this green. Regardless, I decided to build it here anyways because this is kind of coastal and it's kind of California. I mean, even Del Sol Valley would have been too much of a difference because I was kind of thinking of more of like a Central Coast house. If you're not familiar with, I guess, California geography, Central Coast is kind of like in between San Francisco and Los Angeles. So it's just a bunch of hilly coastal area, and it's really cool. So I wanted to build like the typical kind of house you might see in a city over there. I think this is pretty accurate to the sort of character I was going for this house. Let me know what you think. Anyways, so I mentioned that I felt like Del Sol Valley should have had a beach neighborhood, and I will never forgive The Sims for not giving Del Sol Valley a beach neighborhood, because that would have been just so fitting. Because you're making a Los Angeles world, you're making a California world, and then you don't add a beach. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. They added a little suburban area, they added Hollywood, they added Hollywood Hills, but they didn't add a beach. And I don't know why. Even within the gameplay of the pack, like not even just for the aesthetics of having a beach, I feel like for the gameplay, I feel like it would have been very good, because you would sort of have an in-between area between the little suburban area that they have and then the literal like pinnacles where all the celebrities live. There's no in-between area. It just goes straight from suburbs to celebrity mansions and hills and stuff. So I think that if they added a little in-between area where you can live on the beach, because it's still nice, but it's not as nice as like literally mansions in the hills and stuff. I think it would have been really good for gameplay, but they didn't add it, and I think that's a really missed opportunity. Even just 2 or 3 lots would have been great. Like I'm not picky. Even that much would have been very good. Although 1 lot's not enough. 2 lots is also not enough. 3 lots is just enough. 4 lots would have been great, but if just 3 lots would have been fine. But they didn't, and it makes me sad. So anyways, for this build I was kind of going for a little small town vibe. So it feels very suburban, but it doesn't feel very large. Like it's a very small little house. I also don't imagine this house being on the beach. I just imagine being it on a hill or something. More inland from the beach, but maybe it has an ocean view. Although it certainly does have an ocean view, because in this lot it looks at the ocean, so I guess it does have an ocean view. I was sort of imagining how you could grow a lot of different kinds of plants and stuff in California because of the climate. So I'm imagining the person that lives here, or like the family that lives here, would have lots of fruit trees and vegetables and all sorts of stuff in their garden, and I think I just kind of like that whole little aesthetic there. I also added lots of flowers and plants and stuff because I just thought it would fit well with the house. So I added lots of flowers, palm trees, some more deserty plants like succulents. I added lots of bushes, lots of shrubbery, just a whole lot of stuff. I really like the debug trees that come with growing together because they have really cool stuff, especially for a build like this. So they have like lots of more arid looking trees. They have those really cool palm trees that I think initially came with My Wedding Stories, because it came with Tartosa and then they added it here, but then now it's in debug. Well, it was in debug before, but it's in debug now too, and it's really cool. I really like that palm tree. It's very good. It's much better than the base game palm tree, which looks kind of cheap. It looks plastic. It looks like it's made of plastic. A lot of the base game plants look like they're made of plastic. Another really cool plant is the agave plant from Debug Base Game. It looks really good, surprisingly good for base game, but it's in debug for some reason, and I'm not sure why it's in debug because it's such a good looking plant. Why is it not a normal viable object? I don't know. I use it a lot in builds. It's very useful, it's very versatile, it looks very good, so I don't know why it's not in the normal catalog. Also with this build, I only used base game and growing together. Base game because obviously, and then growing together because it's in the growing together world, so I just thought I might as well be allowed to use it. Not that I'm not allowed to use my other packs, I'm just trying to do this as a minimal pack build just because I know that I probably could, and it's better to make minimal pack builds so that more people can download them, because having a lot of packs is really cool, and of course you can just use so much stuff from all the different packs, but if you have so many packs and you want to have other people download the builds, it's almost impossible because not everyone has every pack. Even some people just have 1 or 2 packs missing. It still causes some of the things from the build to be missing, and I just think that's kind of sucks sometimes. I'm also imagining save files that use all the packs. Like, statistically, it's almost impossible for most people to have all the packs and everything that's needed for that save file, so then a bunch of stuff is going to be missing, and I think that's kind of unfortunate. That's why if I make a save file eventually, I will make a base game version of it that will use the base game, and then in each world we'll use only that pack, and then I'll make a normal version of it that has all the packs. So if people want that one, they can use that one, and if people want the base game one, then they can have the base game one. Not that I plan to make a save file soon, but I know that I might want to. So I'm just letting you know for the future to look out for that. Anyway, so for the build, I was kind of going for a normal sort of like little suburban coastal California feel. Sort of like the entire aesthetic of the outside, but now on the inside, which is how buildings work. But regardless, that's how this one works too. Anyways, so for the floor plan of the house, I originally only had 1 bedroom, but then I changed things around and made the kitchen smaller, so then I was able to fit 1 bedroom. So the house still only has 1 bedroom, but there's also an office, and if you want, you could convert that into a kid's room. So if you have Sims in here that want to expand their family, they can easily do so, or if you already have Sims that already have kids, you can change the office into a kid's room too. So the tile that I used for the wallpaper in the kitchen, I think I mentioned it in one of my other videos. I'm pretty sure it was the one where I build row houses for San Sequoia, but I really like that tile wallpaper. It is so useful for so many different things. It looks good in like a cafe, ice cream shop, other commercial venues, but it also just looks good in the kitchen, especially in the bathroom, and I love all the different colors it comes with. Really cool. It also works incredibly well with suburban builds, which I'd imagine since it comes with this pack and everything here is basically a suburban house. I understand why they made San Sequoia more suburban, but if it's based on San Francisco, I feel like it should have been a little bit more urban. I would have liked to see more row house kind of builds, or lots that are able to do row houses, or more denser lots than whatever this is. Because this doesn't really feel like San Francisco, it just feels vaguely like San Francisco. I don't know if that makes sense. I would like to do a video of some sorts, maybe talking about the worlds or ranking the worlds or something, so that I could go into detail about all my grievances with the worlds and also all the things I like about them too. Let me know if you would be interested in seeing a video like that. I always do that, where I propose a video idea and then I say, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see something like that. But usually I'm gonna do it eventually anyways, but I would still love to hear what people think about that and my channel. I'd like to know what people would be interested in watching, so then I could do that. And you can watch it. Also, let me know if you want to see me do more fairy builds, if you're interested in that, because I still have a few more ideas for some fairy builds, but I just decided to take a little break, so I don't know if I'm going to keep doing fairy builds or just keep doing whatever I want. I don't know. There's always a need to do pack builds whenever a new pack comes out, but I feel like people just sort of forget about it after the hype has died down, and then people don't really make builds from the old packs, and just make normal builds. But I'm thinking, like, I want to make pack builds sometimes that are from packs that came out like a long time ago or just a while ago, and I am going to do that. So if you are interested in that, I guess stay tuned because I'll be doing that eventually. I was debating whether or not I should have put a kid's bedroom or an office in that little room there, but I kind of just decided to put an office there because I didn't really want to make a room. But I think the office looks good, and then of course, you can always just easily turn it into a bedroom if you wanted to. I also didn't have a desk anywhere, and I thought I would need some room for a desk and computer, so I decided to put it there. So yeah, that's where it is. I just mentioned the whole pack build thing, but I guess this is kind of like a growing together build because it just uses growing together. So I guess I'm already kind of doing that. I just realized that. That's kind of funny. I felt like the walls were a bit bare because I didn't add a lot of decorations and stuff. So at this point, I'm just kind of adding a bunch of paintings and whatever I can to fill up the wall space. One thing about base game and limited packs is that there are very limited decor and paintings and all that stuff, so that's a bit difficult sometimes. Anyways, we're nearing the end of the speed build, so be sure to watch to the end for the showcase. Alright, see you there! Alright, here's the final build. I think it turned out very well. It's very similar to what I was trying to picture for this build, and I think it kind of conveys well, at least in my opinion. So I added a lot of different plants and shrubbery here. It might be a little busy. It might be a little busy, but I think this is very realistic because there's just lots of shrubs and plants and all sorts of different stuff that grow on the front areas of some of these houses. And there's a mailbox and a trash can. I usually forget to put these down, so I've remembered now and I'm glad that I did. Here's the front porch. It's a wraparound porch here, so it'll wrap around here. If you have any intruders, they can easily access your backyard, but that's okay. Anyways, so this is the living room. It's a very basic living room. I really like this little chair here. I think it fits well within this little space. I think I also used a similar chair or even the same chair in the San Sequoia row houses, in one of the row houses I did, although it's a different vibe, so it's okay. Plus, there's not that many chairs anyways. This is the kitchen. If you didn't notice, I added a few more decorations and stuff to sort of liven it up a little bit because I mentioned that a lot of the walls seemed a little bare, and I came back to it, and it still needed a little bit of polishing up, so I didn't record that part, but I just did that right now just before starting this recording. So yeah, so this is new, that's new, that hutch is new, that phone is new. Yeah, a lot of things are new, but I think it was necessary to sort of make this look better. But yeah, here's the kitchen. Little dishwasher, little stove here, little coffee maker. I think this looks pretty good. And then there's this little breakfast nook here, so you can have your Sims sit down and eat. There isn't really a dining room, so this is kind of just the table that you'll use to eat. If you want to add a dining table, you might add one here, or you could maybe add one here if you have room, although I don't know if you have room here. Might be able to add one here if you move the hutch. But I think this is fine, especially if only two Sims live here and maybe like one or two kids. Here's the master bedroom. Very plain. I guess you can add your own stuff in here if you want to. There's a bed, there's a lamp, there's some nightstand. There's no lamps on the nightstand. I probably should have had some, but that's okay. Here's a little closet area. It has a dresser. I guess some hanging stuff here and then a mirror. This kind of looks like someone just moved in here. Like you would imagine someone would have a bunch of boxes around here. Maybe your Sims just moved here. And then here's the bathroom. This is what I mean by that tile. Very versatile, very useful. I really like it. And then this matching tile, which isn't as useful, but I still really like how it matches up with all this. And yeah, it's a bathroom. And then in here is the office slash maybe kids' room if you want it to be that. Have a little chair here, little desk, the gates clipping, that's okay. And then this little bookshelf here, which you can add a bunch of little decorations here if you want. Also, I really like this painting. I think I mentioned it in my row houses video, but yeah, I like this painting. It's really cool, very versatile. And then in here is the bedroom, not bedroom, nobody lives here. This is the bathroom, and I think this looks very California to me with the tile and everything. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Out here is the backyard, which you saw a little glimpse of before. I have this little plant here. I really like this debug plant. It's kind of cool. There's a bench here, and then there's a bench over there. Same bench. I think these look very interesting and fit in well with the rest of the backyard. I have this little outdoor area so you can sit down and enjoy the nice weather. Lots of trees here. I added lots of trees. I added this tree and that palm tree. That's the palm tree I was talking about. It's a very good looking palm tree. And I also went in and added these fruit trees. So if you want to play in this house, there will be fruit trees here, and I don't know if they will transfer to the gallery, but if they do, that's cool. But yeah, I added some fruit trees. You can use them. You can delete them if you want to grow your own. All up to you. And then I was going to add vegetables and stuff here, but I couldn't be bothered, and they weren't available in the build mode debug or live edit menu. So yeah, I guess you can plant them yourself. And then there's a bench here, which I mentioned, and then you can watch birds in the bird bath. Does this? I don't know if birds actually go in here. I don't know. I don't use this object that much, so I wouldn't know. And then there's a bike here, if you want to use the bike. Yeah, I think I like how I added all different plants and stuff because it feels very overgrown, but in a nice way. It feels very gardeny, and there's lots of different like statues and potted plants and pots and sculptures and watering cans, I guess. Lots of stuff. I think it looks good. I've been doing a lot of these little gardeny builds where there's a house and then there's just flower like plant pots, plant pots, planters. There's planters everywhere for your Sims to garden. I've been doing a lot of that. So maybe I'll stop doing that. Not stop, but I'll diverge into more different things that aren't just garden houses and stuff. So maybe I'll make some apartments, more modern houses. We'll see how it goes. One thing I don't like, not that I don't like it, but this view it feels very opposite of what I'm trying to go for because I'm trying to go for like small town coastal vibe and then we have like a bridge and then like these tall buildings over here. Isn't that looks a bit much? But I still like this. It's cool. And I like this little neighborhood here. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun YouTube things. This build and all my other builds are on the gallery, as always, and I hope to see you in the next video. Alright, see you later. Bye.